He is a 10-year veteran of Toastmasters. He has competed in table topics at area and evaluation at division levels. He served as contest master, chief judge, and judge at club, area, division, and district levels. He helped develop Crossroads Toastmasters contest template. He helped plan District 8's first virtual contest. He helped plan and was contest master for the first District 8 virtual contest. He is our next presenter. Please welcome Art Stanzi.
Thank you, Kevin. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. Let's start with a quick housekeeping announcement. We have a lot to get through, and Dawn is being a merciless taskmaster on staying on time. So please hold your questions to the end and put them in chat, and Darren will read them out to me. Let's do some thumbs up. If you have chaired a contest before, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. If you have never chaired a contest before, give me a thumbs up. And if you're committed to chairing a contest next year, give me that thumbs up. Sue Rankin, would you be willing to be a guinea pig in our work session?
Sure, I'd do it.
Very good. Well, we'll go through that when we get to it. Hang on a minute. Thank you, Sue. Now let me share screen. Whoa. The secret to putting on a darn good contest is start early, communicate often, learn and pay attention to the details. Going to virtual contests, I'll say the details that you have to pay attention to, especially those in the planning and at the end, in the last couple of weeks before your contest, have doubled. It's a lot more work. Consider getting some help. First things first, download the 2 contest kits that you're sharing. Usually that's going to be, you're going to be contest chair for 2 contests. I recommend getting the contest kits off the District 8 or international website, because this way you have all the forms, all the pieces of paper that you need all in one spot. So you don't have to go looking through lists in the back of the rule book. You don't have, and then searching for them on the website. A dirty little secret. The current set of kits only have one form fill. That is the judge's certification of eligibility. The others, such as the 2 speaker forms and the notification of winner form, really need to be form filled so that you're not messing around emailing and sending via your phone system pictures. Our exemplary District 8 webmaster, Tom Kasha, has got all of the editable forms that you need to run a contest on the District 8 website. So kudos to Tom. As everybody else has said, print and read the contest rule book. It changes every year. Also, there are some best practices that you should follow and make sure that those are incorporated into your planning. Plan a preliminary planning meeting to include the people you intend to enlist to help you. Make or obtain a checklist. I use a Excel workbook. I've got a tab for the details. I just completed working up one for a virtual contest. It's over 100 lines of details. You don't want to try and keep track of this in your head, and you don't want to try and keep track of this on scraps of paper. It should be a lineup card. This tells who is doing what in the contest. Include the judges, include the contestants. Then also have sign-up sheets. I'm showing on the screen a sign-up sheet for our potluck. We get people to sign up for rolls. We get people to sign up for potluck by circulating sign-up sheets during the meetings. Preliminary planning meeting is where you're going to figure out how you're going to go after all these details. And we're going to go through all of these points one at a time, except for stopwatches and budgets. Now, it used to be you had to get, especially at area, division, and district, you had to worry about getting timing signals and stopwatches, usually you were borrowing from a club. Now you need to worry about whether or not your timers can display the green, yellow, and red virtual backgrounds. Budget depends on what level you're on. Date, time, and venue. Of course, 2021, we're going to be on Zoom. Hopefully in 2022, we'll be getting back to doing it in person. The clubs will normally use your normal meeting time and location. Areas and division have a $15 allowance. This will rent you a room at a St. Louis County Library. I advise area and division directors to contact their club hosts. See if you can get a free room. Wherever you go for area and division and for club, where are you going to brief your judges, count ballots, and sequester the contestants? For trophies, your budget is going to be at a club level. Your budget's set by the executive committee and a vote of the club. Areas have a $10 per trophy, $60 total budget from district. Division and district trophies are provided by District 8. Thank you, RJ. Trophy sources, two good ones. Toastmasters International and Crown Trophy. With Toastmasters International, number one, watch your engraving costs. They can quickly run you over budget. Also, watch your delivery times. Sometimes they're slow getting them through their engraving service. Crown Trophy in St. Louis, Missouri knows Toastmasters. They know we are cheap. They are good to work with. If you give them a couple days notice, they will print out the last two receipts for your club, your area, your division, so that you can see, or area, excuse me, so that you can see what your predecessors bought. Your contest master. You, the contest master and chief judge, need to be prepared. You're the only three people who absolutely have to walk into that room prepared. Your contest master needs 3 scripts, detailed one for the briefing of the contestants, and a detailed script for conducting the first contest and the second contest. And the way you start them off is different, so they got to be modified, edited ahead of time. The district needs new blood. I call on all clubs and area directors to let first timers get some experience contest mastering and chief judging at club and area levels. Your chief judge has to know the rule book. He has to be prepared. Here's your ballots, you know what to do, is not a briefing. Food. one of the casualties of the virus environment. My experience is that a good potluck table will create a party atmosphere at a club contest and make it much more enjoyable for the club members, make it much more enjoyable for the guests and dignitaries. And I'm looking forward to when we get back to it. It has been tried, and I think it has added to area contests. I would like to try it at division sometime. Recruiters, if you are a club or area director and you have not got a good network into the district, find some recruiters who do. It makes the job a lot easier. Invite dignitaries. RJ, Dawn, and Vic don't have lives this year, so they're perfectly available to come to your and judge at your club or area contests or division contests. Look out, guys. Hot seats. This is a concept I imported from some of the clubs. A hot seat walks into that room prepared to do any role. Contest master, chief judge. If it is a evaluation contest, they have a pocket speech so they can fill in for the test speaker. I try and have about 4 hot seats. And now we need Zoom masters to make all this stuff work right. At least 2, and at district this past a few months ago, we had 3 in case something happened and we lost somebody. I'm looking forward to the day when I'll need a vice chair of hospitality and somebody to help wrangle the potluck. Graphics and printing. You're going to need a program. You're going to need to locate those fillable forms. You're going to need some to fill in participation certificates. And at the last minute, you're going to need to fill in winner certificates. Pre-plan this. Think about it now during the pre-planning meeting. I'd recommend, if you've got somebody who's good with graphics, recruiting them, have them do all the program design and generate the forms for you. Participation certificates. There are probably every Toastmaster with any experience has got a file, manila folder. It's a 1/2 inch or more thick, full of participation certificates. Consider some alternatives. Gag gifts, a 2-headed Toastmasters pencil, which I got for being a judge once. Thank you cards work well. Bags of candy work well. I've gotten good mileage out of 1-inch squares of chocolate from Cacao Chocolate on Manchester. And now let's do a work session. And Sue Rankin, could you unmute yourself and turn on your video? You with us, Sue?
There we go. I got it.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Here is, I'm sharing screen. Can everybody, Tom, can you see a screen share of a Excel workbook?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. All right, Sue,
Yes.
what organization are you going to be chairing that contest for?
Area 10.
All right. Have you got a contest date?
February 28th, 2021.
And what day is that?
Sunday, I believe.
Okay. if you email me, I will email this back to you. What
Okay.
time, when's the Zoom meeting going to start?
At 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Actually, District 1 and Area 1 and Area 10 are combining this time.
All right. Oh, all right. And you can edit this. This is editable. Briefings will start at.
How about
See,
noon?
it pays to think about this stuff early, and
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of you, Dawn.
No, I would suggest noon.
All right, if the doors are opening at 1, all right, and you're going to hold the briefings before the meeting starts?
Now you're making me think. Darn it, Art.
And
Well, if the contest starts at 1, the doors will be opening before then.
okay, so the contest starts at 1. Sorry.
Yes.
So maybe the briefings start at 12:30,
Yes.
12:45.
Yes. 12:30 is fine. I always like to be early, but not everybody does.
Right, and then you would open the doors at noon. You get to think this through again.
Yeah, right. I would say 12.
Okay. And whose Zoom license are you going to use?
Capital City Toastmasters.
Right. And see, this is an area contest, so do you know now where you're going to go for your trophies?
I would guess Toastmasters.
Okay. Have you got a contest master?
No.
Okay. Who's going to recruit?
I will recruit from District 10 or Area 10.
Keep in mind, you can go outside your area for people to work your contest. Same with Chief Judge?
Yes.
All right. And then who's going to recruit Zoom masters? We're not going to get too far into this, but I'm just wanted everybody to see what your preliminary planning meeting will look like. This is a lot more fun when you do it at a Panera, pen and paper with pencil and printout. I point out. Who's going to get Zoom masters?
I would assume I would have a committee to kind of help me.
Whoops. You don't get good spelling with your with engineers, right?
Right.
All right, we got a yellow, so let's save this and get chided by Microsoft. Lauren, I want to thank you for helping me give a demonstration of how you get through the first, get through that first planning meeting.
Things will be interesting.
Oh yeah. Now, and we'll get to the rest of this later, but I will send you this, and this is pretty much an outline from the rest of my presentation.
Nice. Thank you so much. It'll be helpful.
Very good. And I'll get my email into chat in a few minutes here.
Okay.
Or before we leave. So
right.
Look for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping and
Sure.
And giving it some thought. Now let us get back to work around with the psychology here, or hopefully the technology. Tom, are you seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Well, hold on. There we go. As soon as you have got your preliminary planning meeting finished, make up a contest notice. Include the day. I find it very aggravating when I get contest notices that don't include the day. Include the date, include those 3 times. If you're doing it in person, include detailed instructions on how to navigate to the site, club, area, division, including putting in a Google Maps link. Nowadays, this is all you need. You send it to Tom Kausha and Don Tucker. Tom will put it on the District 8 website so that with a registration link so that everybody can get a link to join the contest. Include this information in all your emails. Back when we were doing it in person, I would include this in all the emails, including 2 inches of instructions on how to get to the church. And I'd still get a couple of calls the week before and say, how do I get there again? Send it out. Then recruit, recruit, recruit. We've talked about, Sue helped us talk about how we're going to get people to fill all these functions. Go do it. Work on all the members of your club for a club contest. Make sure that they are, get as many of your club members to compete as possible, and fill in the gaps with dignitaries and guests. Lead your team. Have regular meetings. We used to do them before and after club meetings. Now you can do it on Zoom. Keep track of progress using that planner. Get help for any of your teammates that's falling behind. Check contest eligibility. Got to do, as soon as you know who all your contestants are, check their eligibility. At the club, any club officer can tell you whether or not that person is paid through the contest date. The international website has an app where you can put in the name of a contestant, and I think the club, and that will tell you whether or not that contestant is eligible to compete. Only the area director, district director, or division director can access this because of all the privacy concerns. So if you're not the director, you're going to have your director make that check. Hold a coordination meeting. This is something I kind of stumbled into, and I found it to be a very valuable planning tool. Especially at area and division and at district. Get there with your contest master, now your Zoom masters, because we're doing it virtual, your sergeant at arms and chairs if possible. Do it if it's an in-person contest, do it at the venue if at all possible. This way you can work out the room arrangement. This way you can find that auxiliary room. A lot of hotels do not have a good layout for a Toastmasters contest because they've got the meeting rooms on the other side of the building, a long hike. At libraries, we'll typically step out and just use an unused table. Then agree on the flow of event. Discuss it with everybody. Who's going to do what? What housekeeping items are going to be addressed by the sergeant at arms? Who's going to hand off to who? Who's going to announce the dignitaries? Who is going to acknowledge the club official or the contest officials and hand out participation certificates. Who is going to announce winners handout trophy? Write a detailed outline of the flow of event, and this will be a widely distributed tool. Especially your Zoom masters will need it. Now, the details pile up. A number of clubs I know are using Google Drive, Dropbox, things like that. My club and I are still using just volumes of email. So I'm going to talk about volumes of email. Adapt to your club as you see fit. Contestants, you need to get them their speech, get them the rule book. Everybody gets a rule book. Everybody gets a contest notice. Their certifications, eligibility, and their contest profile. They have to fill them out and email them back. I'd recommend you have them CC your contest master and your chief judge, because they're going to need one or both of those certificates. The judges, they need to fill out and return a certification of eligibility. They also need their 2 ballots. And Tim Spezia came up with a pretty slick way of submitting ballot results that I think has been used at all the other division and at district. You set up a blank email and you just fill in the 3 winners in order and email it back. That also means that each judge needs the chief judge's ballot email and the ballot counters emails. So everybody gets the results of each judge. All right, the contest master and everybody else should get a flow of event outline and a contest lineup card showing who is doing what in the contest, including the contestants and the judges. The chief judge also needs to fill out a certification of eligibility. You need to send him your judge's certification of eligibility if he hasn't been CC'd back. Also, the chief judge needs the forms and ballots for the tie-breaking judge. Timers, in addition to everything else, need the time record so that they can keep track of the time. Ballot counters need a tally sheet so they can track the timing. I understand that a good way of doing this is set up a Excel spreadsheet that looks like the tally sheet, share that with the ballot counters, and then fill in the blanks. Everybody reads the ballots twice, agree on the entries, and you've at least got, and you're through the math and ready to go to disqualifications and tie breaking. Your Zoom masters definitely need your lineup card and event outline so they know who to pop into the breakout rooms when. Finally, stay in touch, put out fires. Make sure that if you've got a vice chair graphics, make sure that the names of everyone goes to that vice chair graphics. Proofread the draft program, proofread the certificates. I once misspelled a fellow crossroader's name on the lineup card, and it wound up in the program is misspelled, and still got egg on my face in places. Contest day, log in early, make a final coordination with your contest team, greet arrivals. I think everybody enjoys the social half hour before these events start. Perform your parts. And now the second most important set of takeaways from this presentation. Have a good time. You have made a plan, you've started early, you've worked your plan, you've recruited your officials, you have communicated, you have communicated, you have communicated. You took care of the details, the numerous details, and you've put on a darn good contest. Are there any questions? You put your questions in the chat.
Art,
Yes.
during your presentation, we've had 2 questions so far.
All right.
The first one's from Larry Miller, and he is asking if you will share a sample of your spreadsheet with the roles you have identified.
Sure. Hang on a minute. Hold on. Manipulating the technology here. Right. Can you see the Excel spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay. Then hopefully I can change tabs. So for example, this is left over from the District 8. We had co-chairs, and there was one for each contest because we held them on separate nights. There was a list of the contest master. That was me. Chief judge, that was RJ. List your 2 timers, or your timers, your ballot counters, sergeant at arms. I list the hot seats. I go overboard on judges, because thunderstorms happen and people disappear. And we really wound up with three timers on that one. And then the contestants, after they've been, after their eligibility has been confirmed. And for example, here's a sign-up sheet, empty for everybody's privacy. We'll print this out, and I'll print this part out. And if we're meeting in person, we circulate this and every week, update it, print it out new. Potluck, sign-up sheet for that. Occasionally we worry about how long things are going to take, especially when we wound up doing humorous and international speech in the same event. So we were doing you want to do some math to see how long that's going to take. And then finally, the virtual checklist. This is the one that we started for Sue. Does that answer the question?
It's Larry Miller. The reason I'm asking is I would like to borrow that for an American Legion high school oratorical speech contest, which I found out last week I need to chair early in January. And I like the format, and I would probably never think of all the things you thought of if I was doing it on my own. So I was just curious if I could get a copy of that from you.
I'll tell you what, when I can't get into share from screen share or chat from screen share, when I get back, while Darren's searching for the next question, I will real quick.
If I could drop my email in the chat box and you could just.
I'll tell you what, let's do it this way.
I think most of the questions have to do with getting a copy.
Everything you went over, you didn't have to. They just wanted the copy.
Kathy Berry's like, yeah, I think we all would like a copy.
Tom, do we have a registration list for this thing?
Yes, we do.
Maybe the thing to do is I'll send a copy to everybody who's registered. If you will get me that registration form.
Sure.
And that way I'm not going to have to try and track down a zillion. Right.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Anything else?
Our next question then, and I apologize if the name is incorrect. Umanga de Silva. She was wondering, is there an app to see where the club is in good standing?
The best way you can do, well, first of all, I think the eligibility app checks that the member and the club are in good standing. If the club is in good if the club is not in good standing, they're disqualified. We actually this actually happened between division and district a couple months ago. I don't think anybody had signed up in this club except the contestant. They popped and they came back ineligible, and they weren't able to compete because the club was not in good standing. So it is a function of both. Your eligibility to be a contestant is a function of both your dues being in and at least 8 people in your club having their dues paid. Umanga, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Our next question is from Thomas Finley. What is a hot seat?
Hot seat. Some clubs actually have it on their agenda. Grand Center 5000 calls it on call as a role. And when you walk into a club meeting as a hot seat, you're prepared to fill any role. You can be Toastmaster, you can be Ballot, or you can be Toastmaster, you can be timer. You have a set of table topics questions. So you're ready to fill in if somebody can't make it. And it was a good concept, and it exported excellently into contest planning. Things happen even in person. Things are going to happen at the last minute. People aren't going to be able to show up. You need some hot seats. Does that answer the question?
Thomas Finley says yes. Our next question is from Barbara. She'd like to know, what are some common mistakes?
Waiting till the last minute, not dealing and not learning what all forms have to be where. The week before a in-person contest, somebody has to print out all the black and white forms, shuffle them into the right manila folder. You need a manila folder for the contest master, a manila folder for the contest chair, a manila folder for the chief judge. For example, the chief judge should have as many judges certification forms as there are judges. My experience is about half the people don't show up with completed forms and have to scribble through them while you're doing the briefing. Need the timer, 2 timer sheets. You need 2 ballot counter sheets. And the chief judge should have, for example, the certificates of appreciation or whatever you're using as a substitute, because the best time to hand out the judges' certificates of appreciation is at the end of the briefing. So now, since we can't hand out, you know, can't give the contest master and the chief judge a manila folder with all the paperwork, now we gotta email it stuff all over the place, or we got to have a drop box where people can go and get the stuff. It's whatever your club culture is. My recommendation to area and division, since you're dealing with people who may or may not know each other, just figure out how to do the email blizzard that week or the 2 weeks before the contest. That do it?
Let's see, we have a response. Barbara says, thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next question or questions, Don Tucker has asked to say directly, so I will let her speak.
Anytime I'm in a contest where two contests are happening together, like most of them do, you've got a table topics followed by an international speech. The question always comes up, are we going to count the ballots from the first speech during the intermission, or are we going to hold all of the ballots and count them at the end? Do you have a preference or a reason for a specific way that you do that? Does it depend on the number of contestants, for example? And also, before you answer that one, I'm going to throw another one in. Sometimes there's a question similarly, are we going to interview the people from the first contest before the second contest? So what is your preference on that?
My preference is to count when you're in a club area division setting. My preference is to count the first contest ballots during the break. That way the paperwork's taken care of and you're not getting a long delay after the second contest. So my preference is to count ballots after each contest. And maybe you got to give them, you know, you got to take the break 12 minutes so that you don't cheat the chief judge and ballot counters out of a chance at the potluck table. All right. Now, interviews, for the first time, we held two long speech contests at the same time, humorous and international. And there, we decided to interview the internationals, especially the international, interview after each contest. If there's a lot of overlap, and typically at the club level, you're going to have a lot of your contestants will be in both contests. So just do the whole batch after the interviews, or after the contest, and this gives you time for the chief judge and the ballot counters to process the second batch of ballots. So it's a little bit adjustable. Those are my preferences, and like I said, take this, make it your own, make it better, and pass it on. And I think we're 40 seconds over. Oh, no, 50 minutes, don't I? We got 10 more minutes.
And I still have a few more questions.
Let's keep going.
Okay. Elizabeth Link is asking about the contest flow list and the lineup and pre-programming. Doesn't the list that goes to the speakers have to have the judges left out?
I don't send the lineup card to the speakers.
Okay.
And because they don't need to know. And then the other thing is that I've run into situations where people get upset because the speakers know who the other speakers are. So you got to be, if you're emailing, you're supposed to put the speakers' emails in the blind CC line, so nobody else knows who the other speakers are because they're supposed to be kept secret. I don't think there's a rule, but people get upset. You know, it just pains me when people get upset. And Liz, you also asked about the flow of event. That's just a word processing document. It's just a MS Word doc outline, but you do put the details in there so everybody knows who's doing what, because there is not there's not a set of rules saying who does what. You know, like who tells the audience where the bathrooms are. Important when you're doing area and division and you're not at your home club. Who's going to handle that? Is the sergeant at arms going to do that? Is the contest chair going to do that? Is the contest master going to do that? So those are the details that you want to do. That way everybody's not stepping on each other, and they know when the handoffs are. Liz, did that answer your questions?
Oh, I'm getting, yes, indeed. Thanks. That is what Elizabeth says. My next question is from RJ, and he's asking if there are contest scripts on the District 8 website.
Yes, there are. And I will admit, I have plagiarized from them heavily in the past to develop my list, my scripts. One more point. Being prepared is not downloading a script from the district website and then just walking in. Being prepared, especially not if you've got it on your phone, right? Being prepared is downloading it, reading it, editing it, and making it your own, and then walking into the contest with a hard copy.
Those are all of our questions at this time.
Darren, thank you very much. Appreciate your assistance in this. And Darren was my timer as well as my interrogator. So thank you for that. And let's give it back to Kevin DeRocher.
Thank you, Art. Great job. Round of applause for Art. Okay, it is 28 after according to my clock, and we have a break starting at 2:30, so we will start that now. We will resume